There's a moment you know too well. You leave a conversation, and your mind starts replaying every sentence like a crime scene. I should have said that differently. Did they twist what I meant? You're not angry. You're just confused. And that confusion is the dangerous signal, because when someone truly disagrees with you, you feel it instantly. It's clean, it's direct. But when someone uses dark psychology, they don't attack you. They make you doubt yourself. They don't say you're wrong. They plant one question and make you do all the explaining. And every time you explain, you hand them control. In this video, you'll learn how to spot those moments the second they happen and stop before you lose your position. 7 subtle signs. Not designed to break you in one dramatic blow, but to disorient you, to make you drift. And recognizing them isn't enough. Because there's a paradox mindset, a final weapon I'm saving for the end of this video. It's the only key that neutralizes every one of these psychological strikes without a single argument. But to hold that key, you have to see through the 7 masks first. So if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you had to stay calm, sit still. Don't react. Let's begin. Sign 1. They make you explain your own emotion. Picture the setting, the office, or a family argument. You say, no, not in rage, not in hostility, just a normal boundary, calm, respectful, but their response comes out of nowhere. They don't argue the issue. They take a step back, put on a fake look of concern, and drop a light question. You seem stressed lately. What's going on? Why are you being so sensitive? Notice the technique. No accusation, no debate, just a check-in. But under that soft voice is a direct psychological strike. They turn your boundary into a symptom. They imply this: you're not saying no because my request is unreasonable. You're saying no because something is wrong with you, and your brain falls for it. Your fear of being labeled crazy or difficult spikes. You forget the boundary you just set, and you start defending your character. No, it's not that, I'm just tired. That's not what I meant. Maybe I didn't say it right. And suddenly you're explaining, justifying, apologizing for your own emotions. This is the exact moment power flips. You were the decision maker, the subject. Now you become the patient, the object, and the manipulator doesn't even need you to agree right now. They only need you to doubt your own sanity. Because once you start explaining why you feel what you feel, you hand them the right to decide whether your emotions are valid. This isn't just changing the topic. This is a master-level battlefield switch. Look closely at what just happened. You were talking about an action, their mistake, or your limit. With one question, they drag the spotlight off their behavior and aim it straight at your mental state. They turn an equal conversation into a courtroom. And inside that courtroom, the rule is ruthless. Whoever looks calmer gets crowned right. Whoever shows emotion gets labeled unstable. While you stumble through explanations, they watch coldly. They enjoy the position of the superior. They don't have to prove they're right. They only have to prove you're too emotional to be taken seriously. Carl Jung would call this a theft of the subject. When you are the subject, you act, you decide, you control the story. But the moment you start justifying your emotions, you step down from that throne. You become the object, a case study on their operating table, a specimen they get to dissect and judge. You're no longer an equal partner. You become a problem they graciously understand. That's how they win without firing a single bullet. They don't defeat your logic. They lower the status of the person speaking it. Now listen carefully. A person who genuinely cares will sense when you're not okay. They want to share the weight with you. A person using dark psychology doesn't care about your weight. They need you to prove you're fine, obedient, and still inside their control. Why is it so dangerous to explain? Because the moment you do, you sign a silent contract. My emotions have no value unless you approve them. You turn something private and sacred into a product they get to price. And as long as you wait for their nod to feel tired, hurt, or overwhelmed, you stay inside the cage. So where is the power? Not in yelling, "I'm not sensitive." That's the reaction of someone below. Not in sulking silence either. That's escape. Real power is refusing to enter the negotiation. You don't need to deny their implication. You don't need to prove your innocence. Do the simplest and hardest thing, hold your original position. If you said no, let no stand alone. No footnotes, no apologies, no reasons. Remember this mantra: a boundary is a command, not a request that needs a lawyer. When you remove the explanation, you remove their fuel. They're waiting for you to justify yourself so they can pick it apart. But when you stay quiet and firm, they slam into reality. Your word is final. If this feels familiar, if you recognize yourself in those rushed explanations, stay here. We're just beginning to walk into the dark to reclaim the light. Sign 2. They wrap control in the language of care. You want to change jobs, start a new relationship, or simply pursue a personal passion. They don't show up like a dictator. They don't forbid you. They don't threaten you. They approach with a sweetness that kills. They use morally perfect phrases nobody can argue with. I'm just worried about you. I don't want you to suffer. You can do it, but are you sure it's good for your future? You deserve better than this. At first, it sounds like love, protection, warmth, but listen to what happens inside you right after. If it were real care, you'd feel supported, encouraged, but instead, you feel a weight on your chest, a pressure, a quiet suffocation. Why? Because hidden inside that concern is a brutal message. I don't trust your judgment. They plant a seed of self-doubt. They suggest you're naive, impulsive, and without them you'll collapse. So instead of moving with confidence, you enter defense mode. You open your life like a case file. You explain your plan in detail. You justify your motives. You try to prove at all costs, I know what I'm doing. Look at the truth. You are no longer acting like a free adult. You are acting like a child, trying to convince a parent to allow you out. That isn't dialogue. That is permission-seeking disguised as sharing. Call it what it is. This is boundary invasion with perfect camouflage. They don't kick down your self-respect. They don't insult your competence directly. They do something more dangerous. They appoint themselves as the one who knows best. They place themselves above you. They see the full map. You're just lost in fog. They imply, you're good, but you don't understand the world like I do. That's how they steal the steering wheel. Not by grabbing it, but by convincing you you're unqualified to hold it. Stoicism calls true freedom this: the right to decide for yourself what is good and bad. That is the inner citadel, the mind's unbreakable fortress. But the moment you let someone else define what's best for you, you lower the drawbridge, you open the gate, you hand your inner sovereignty to an outsider, you stop living your life. You start living a version they edited for you. Here's the difference that matters. Real care respects your right to be wrong. It stands beside you, ready to help you up if you fall, but it does not block your path. It does not demand a report for every decision. But the kind of care that makes you feel trapped, that forces you to dig for arguments to justify your choices, that is not care. That is constraint. That is domination dipped in sugar. And that sugar exists to numb your resistance. When you face this sweet trap, your instinct is to fight back, to prove them wrong. Stop. Don't try to make them understand. Because they aren't looking for understanding. They're looking for compliance. Every explanation you give becomes fuel for deeper invasion. Instead, use a simple psychological move that hits manipulators hard. Brief acknowledgement. Look them in the eyes and say, I understand you're concerned, or thanks for the input. Then do the most important part. Absolute silence. End the sentence. No but, no because, no extra words. And that silence is the boundary. It creates a drop-off that makes them lose momentum. They were waiting for your defense. You cut the stream. You turn the conversation into a dead end. When you stop asking permission to live your life, control dies from lack of oxygen. Remember this: you do not owe anyone a life report just because they speak in the name of love. Freedom begins the moment you end your sentence without an apology. If that lands on the invisible weight you've been carrying, hold on to this mindset. We continue. Sign 3. They make you doubt your own memory and intuition. You bring up an agreement you made last week, or a cruel sentence they said in anger. Your memory is sharp, carved in stone. You remember the room, the tone, even the feeling in your body. But when you confront them, they don't flinch. They stare straight at you, calm in a way that feels unnatural, and deny everything. I never said that. You misunderstood again. Your imagination is wild. You're remembering it wrong. That never happened. Notice this. They don't get defensive. They don't raise their voice. They don't look like they're lying. That perfect calm makes you freeze. A chill runs down your spine, and the thought appears. Wait, am I actually crazy? This isn't simple lying. This is reality erosion. A liar wants to hide one specific truth. A manipulator wants to destroy your ability to know truth at all. They don't need to win this small argument. Their goal is darker. They want you to lose faith in your own perception. Carl Jung understood this. Intuition is the silent but powerful channel that anchors you to reality. When your intuition gets rejected again and again, treated like delusion, your brain panics. To survive, your ego starts searching for a new source of truth. And the tragedy is, it chooses the person manipulating you. That's when power shifts completely. You stop trusting your own eyes. You start seeing life through their eyes. You become a puppet, waiting for them to confirm what's real and what's not. Let's clarify something. Anyone can forget. That's human. An honest person might say, "I'm sorry, I forgot that detail," or, "Really, I don't remember saying that." They might be wrong, but their attitude is open. They respect your memory, even if it differs from theirs. Manipulators do the opposite. They don't just deny the event. They attack the observer. They don't make you feel like you have a different perspective. They make you feel insane for remembering. When you walk away and start torturing yourself with questions, maybe I'm too sensitive, maybe something is wrong with me, maybe I imagined it. Be on high alert. That doubt did not grow naturally. It was planted, because now the fight isn't about dates or words anymore. It becomes something more dangerous, a war over who defines reality. They're trying to set a new rule. Their words are truth. Your memory is hallucination, and whoever controls the past controls your present. Don't let them rewrite your history. Here is the golden principle to protect your sanity. You are not required to hold a courtroom to prove your memory. Don't try to drag them back to reality. You can't wake someone who pretends to sleep. Every attempt to convince them, every piece of evidence exhausts you and strengthens their role as judge. Instead, take one strategic step back. Trust your experience fully and act from that truth. If you know they promised, act like someone waiting for a promise and disappointed when it isn't kept. If you know they insulted you, set a boundary immediately. No arguments. Why are you lying? No pleading. I swear I remember correctly. Just action. Truth doesn't need a vote. Truth doesn't need a liar's permission to exist. Gaslighting requires two players, one who plants doubt and one who accepts it. The moment you stop asking permission to trust your own mind, the game collapses. They lose their only real power, the power to confuse you. If you've ever walked away from a conversation, stood in the world and thought, "Did I imagine that? Am I going crazy?" Stop. That isn't a hallucination. That is your intuition screaming a red alarm to protect you. Listen. Sign 4. They create the feeling that you owe them. Right when you try to refuse an unreasonable request, or you want time for yourself instead of serving them. They don't yell. They don't force you. They paralyze your ability to say no with one injection. Memory. They drop casual sentences into the air. Light in tone, heavy like iron. Do you remember back then? When the whole world turned on you, who stayed? I gave everything to help you through that crisis. I didn't hold back. I'm not keeping score. I just think we should understand each other. Watch the technique. No direct command. They don't say, "You must do this for me." They leave the blank space so your conscience fills it in, and instantly, a familiar heaviness rises in your chest. Debt. Old kindness turns into present authority. You feel like a terrible person if you say no to someone who helped you. So what happens? You give in. You agree to things you don't want. You stay, not from love, but from obligation. You surrender your own needs because you believe you no longer have the right to refuse. They turned past kindness into an invisible noose, tightening around your freedom now. They didn't help you so you could stand. They helped you so you'd always kneel in gratitude. This is memory manipulation. They know in the present they don't have enough logic or strength to control you. So they reverse time. They dig up the past to find a weapon. Stoicism exposes this cleanly. The foundation of a healthy relationship is volition, choice. You stay because you want to, not because you have to. When a relationship runs mainly on guilt and debt, its nature changes. It stops being love or loyalty. It becomes a permanent business contract, one you never signed, but you're forced to pay interest on with lifelong submission. Here's the naked truth about real kindness. True help ends completely at the moment it's given. It leaves no rope behind. It's a gift, not a loan. But when someone constantly reminds you of what they did, they aren't asking for appreciation. They want something darker. They want to keep you beneath them. They need you to remain the one who owes. Because as long as you feel indebted, you won't demand fairness. You won't argue. You won't leave. They don't fear your ingratitude. They fear your freedom. Because when the debt disappears, so does their control. You don't need a loud revolution. You don't need to announce a breakup. You don't need to debate who owes more. That just proves they still affect you. The solution is quiet, internal, final. Stop paying interest on debts that don't exist. Learn this life or death boundary. Gratitude and debt are not the same world. Gratitude is free. It comes from the heart. You can say thank you sincerely and still say no to unreasonable demands. Debt is a chain. It forces you to trade your time, needs, and emotions for peace. It turns you into a servant. Manipulators blur these two on purpose. But the moment you separate them clearly, I'm grateful for what you did back then. But that doesn't mean you own me now. Their power collapses. You can be loyal and still be free. Sign 5. They keep you in a constant state of reading their mood in love or a close friendship. Everything feels smooth, even magical. Then suddenly, with no warning, the climate changes. One day they adore you like you're the center of the universe. The next day, they withdraw every ounce of warmth and raise an invisible wall. Watch the micro changes. Messages that used to get answered instantly now take hours or a full day. Eyes that used to seek you now avoid you or stare through you like you don't exist. The voice loses intimacy. It turns polite, cold. A tiny shift outsiders won't notice, but your intuition feels it perfectly. And instantly, the self-destruction engine inside you turns on. A quiet panic. You start reviewing yourself like a criminal looking for evidence. What did I say wrong? Did I cross a line? Where did I mess up? The most terrifying part. No accusation comes, no fight, no conflict, just thick silence, heavy, unexplained. That silence is the blade. It doesn't cut your skin, it cuts your peace. This is control through ambiguity. Behavioral psychology has a name for it: intermittent reinforcement. The strongest addiction mechanism there is. Your brain is wired to search for patterns and safety. If someone is always good or always bad, the brain can adapt. But when someone goes hot and cold, your brain glitches. It enters red alert. It starts analyzing non-stop to predict them. Carl Jung had a brutal insight here. Ambiguity is the most powerful catalyst for fear. When they go quiet and give you no reason, they create a black void. And your mind rushes to fill that void with your deepest fears. You don't fear them. You fear the worst-case stories your own mind is writing. That invisible anxiety forces you to act. To escape the torture of not knowing, you'll do anything to get back to safety. You self-correct. You shrink. You become more obedient, just to earn one normal text, one smile. They don't need threats. They don't need volume. They just maintain uncertainty, and your anxiety finishes the job. It turns you into someone who lives by reading another person's face. Remember this law of healthy relationships. Someone who respects you will not force you to guess your place in their heart. They can be quiet, they can be stressed, but they won't leave you in darkness. The silence of a good person brings peace. The silence of a manipulator brings dread. When you must constantly read their mood to keep the peace, the relationship has left the tracks of equality. You are no longer a partner. You've been demoted to a minesweeper, tiptoeing, careful, terrified of stepping on the next silent bomb. So, where is the exit? The biggest mistake is trying to break the silence by chasing them. Are you okay? Did I do something wrong? Don't do it. That chase is the exact energy they crave. Real power isn't forcing clarity. Real power is refusing to reshape yourself around someone else's unpredictability. Become a stone. The water can turn hot or cold. You stay solid. Keep your normal life. Keep your normal tone. Keep your personal plans. Don't shrink because they radiate cold. Don't dim because they shut off the sun. Toxic silence is a two-person game. One runs, one chases. When you stop chasing, stop panicking, and keep living your life, the game collapses from lack of players. They either return to normal communication or they reveal themselves and leave. Either way, you win because you kept yourself. Sign 6. They always play the rational one and push you into the emotional one in a heated argument. You're hurting. Maybe you're crying. Your voice shakes. Across from your fire is a block of ice. They don't yell. They don't wave their hands. They sit there, looking down at you like a superior, watching a child throw a tantrum. They speak slowly, softly, logically. I'm just telling the truth. Why can't you accept it? Stop emotionalizing everything. Can we talk like adults? Be rational. Don't let tears cloud your judgment. Slowly, a perfect script forms. They become the calm one, the representative of truth. You get cast as the sensitive one, the representative of chaos. This isn't a conversation. It's moral domination through fake rationality. When someone appoints themselves rational, they build a dangerous hierarchy. Their thoughts are superior. Thoughts are your emotions are noise, trash that must be removed. They do a subtle switch. They redefine rational as emotional numbness, and they redefine normal human feeling as weakness. But their calm while you suffer isn't wisdom. It's an empathy deficit. They use logic as a shield to avoid connecting with the pain they caused. Face the truth. They abuse the word rational to hide coldness. Stoicism never taught the elimination of emotion. Stoicism taught this. Notice emotion rising and don't let it steal the steering wheel. A real Stoic could say, I can see you're in pain and I respect that, even if we disagree. But manipulators do the opposite. They use logic like a knife to cut the human part out of you. When your emotions get dismissed as garbage, that is no longer reason. That is oppression wearing a graduate degree. Remember, a truly grounded person doesn't need to prove they're rational by humiliating you. They can sit with your storm without building an ice wall. They don't fear your tears, they fear connection. When someone wins every argument only because they speak quieter, slower, calmer, the conversation is dead. It has become a power stage. They are the perfect lead actor. You get forced into the role of the unstable villain. They don't win because they're right. They win because they made you feel wrong for daring to feel. The biggest mistake you can make with fake rationality is trying to match it. You wipe your tears. You suppress your voice. You start delivering logical bullet points so they'll respect you. Don't. That's the trap. You don't need to prove you're emotionless. Feeling is not a flaw. It's a human privilege, and you don't need to compete over who's colder. That race ends at the bottom of a cliff. The solution is reclaiming your right to define your own experience. Your emotion is a fact, not a debate. Shift your communication immediately. Say less. Every extra explanation becomes ammunition. Speak slower. If they use calm to dominate, you use slowness to control tempo, and never justify. Instead of, I'm sorry I'm crying, but it's because you. That's weak position. Say, I feel hurt by what just happened, and I need time to process this. Period. Real reason is a fortress. It has room for truth and compassion. It doesn't need to crush someone's feelings to exist. Anyone who uses logic to belittle another person's pain isn't strong. They're afraid of connection. And if the word sensitive gets thrown at you like an insult every time you defend yourself, wear it like a medal. It means you still have a soul inside a relationship that's losing its humanity. Now we move to the final sign. Sign 7. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. You start coming back to yourself. You're no longer available on command. You don't respond instantly when you're busy. You stop saying yes automatically. You develop your own voice. And instead of celebrating your growth, they respond with deep sadness, not loud blame. They choose soft sentences with sharp damage. You're different now. You're not the person I knew. We don't feel close anymore. I never thought you'd become so distant, so calculating. Notice the technique. They don't criticize your action because your action isn't wrong. They express disappointment, and instantly something brutal happens inside you. You feel restless, uncomfortable, not because you did something immoral, but because you feel like a bad person for making someone sad. This is emotional punishment. See the truth. The moment you set boundaries, anyone who benefited from you having none will feel loss. They feel their power leaving. The storehouse they used to enter freely now has a lock. Carl Jung warned about this. The shadow doesn't always show up as a raging monster. Sometimes it shows up as a fragile victim. They play abandoned, rejected, misunderstood. They do it to trigger your compassion and guilt, so you remove the boundary and return to the obedient version of you. They don't argue your logic, they manipulate your heart. Change the mindset now. Boundaries never destroy healthy relationships. They only destroy parasitic ones. They end the illusion of unlimited access to your life. When someone gets sad or disappointed because you protect yourself, that sadness is not your responsibility. It's the reaction of someone losing the privilege of controlling you. Don't confuse hurting someone with stopping someone from hurting you. You don't need to explain your change. You don't need to apologize for growing up. That discomfort, that flash of guilt, learn to endure it without moving to soothe them. That isn't proof you're wrong. That is growing pain. It means you are becoming sovereign. Hold this principle like steel. You do not owe a report explaining why you changed, and you must never apologize for becoming mature. Your strength may inconvenience them, but their inconvenience is not your crime. Don't turn your evolution into a confession. This is the real test. You see their sadness and fake guilt rises. It pushes you to do something, explain, comfort, give in just a little so the tension disappears. Stop, do nothing. Learn to carry the weight of that guilt without acting on it. That guilt is withdrawal. It's the detox of people-pleasing. It's a passing emotion. It is not a moral compass. If you give in here, you lose at the gates of heaven. See their discomfort through a new lens. Boundaries always irritate those who are used to intruding. A locked door always frustrates a thief who knows the route. So their disappointment isn't evidence you're wrong. It's the strongest evidence your fence is working. That isn't selfishness. That is self-rule. We've walked through 7 signs. If you recognize more than one of them in the same relationship, sit still. Don't rush into action. Now we connect what you've seen. Pause for a beat. If your mind is linking the pieces, if you realize it wasn't just one sign, but many appearing in the same relationship, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've gotten used to enduring. Dark psychology doesn't run on strength. It runs on politeness, on your habit of self-blame, on your belief that I should understand them a little more. So little by little, you learn to shrink to keep the peace. Here's the truth, even if it stings. You're not manipulated because you're stupid. You're manipulated because you have a conscience. But having a conscience doesn't mean letting other people define your reality, your emotions, your boundaries. And now we activate the ultimate weapon I promised from the start. Power doesn't come from exposing someone. Power comes from refusing to enter the game. No confrontation, no explaining, no proving you're right. You stand still, you hold the line. You watch behavior, not words. When you stop reacting, the person using dark psychology loses the stage. And in that moment, you don't become cold. You become sovereign. Remember this. You don't need to become dangerous to others. You only need to become unmovable. The strongest weapon isn't sharpness. The strongest weapon is this: uncontrollability. If what you just heard makes you quieter, less eager to explain, more solid inside yourself, then we're speaking to what you've needed all along. The sovereign mind isn't for everyone. It's for those who are ready to stop reacting and start ruling their inner world.